This is a firecracker of a cocktail. This week, let me show you how to make a Trinidad Sour. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt, I'm the Whiskey Nerd, and like I said, this week I'm making a firecracker of a cocktail. I'm making a Trinidad Sour. Now, what makes this cocktail a firecracker? Well, it's a very interesting and some might say weird cocktail because of the way it uses Angostura Bitters. Now, Angostura Bitters are usually they're the salt and pepper of a cocktail. They're something you use to round out the kind of various ingredients, to bind it all together and kind of balance out some of the notes, and usually you use them like salt and pepper, sparingly because a little goes a long way. Well, in this cocktail, they use a lot of Angostura. They use 45 ml, 1.5 ounces of Angostura Bitters. Angostura becomes the main component of the cocktail, and the other ingredients, the Orgeat, the lemon and the Rye Whiskey, kind of serve to balance out the very, very concentrated kind of baking spice notes you get in the Angostura. And it's pretty important, I think, for this cocktail especially, to very closely follow the original spec for the drink, which was invented by Giuseppe Gonzalez in the Clover Club in Brooklyn, because the nature of Angostura Bitters is that it'll probably overpower everything else you put up against it. So like the herbal notes of a Rye Whiskey, the zippy kind of tangy notes of lemon, and the rich sugary notes of the Orgeat, which is like a kind of a spiced almond syrup, will serve to balance out and tame back some of those notes in the Angostura Bitters. So that's enough talking, let's get on to making the cocktail. It is a shaken drink, so we're going to get a shaker tin and we're going to pop a nice rock of ice into there, and then we're going to go in with the rest of our ingredients. We're going to start off with our Angostura Bitters, and we're going to be using 45 ml or 1.5 ounces of Angostura Bitters. Normally it has a dasher top on the top, but I've just taken that off for this, and it will be going back on before I make any other cocktails. So that right there is 45 ml or 1.5 ounces of Angostura Bitters. Next up, it's 30 ml or 1 ounce of our Orgeat. Like I said, it is the kind of an almondy spiced sugar syrup, so it will really help in taming all those spicy notes in the Angostura Bitters, and already I can really smell how strong those bitters are. Next up, it's 25 ml, just under a full ounce of lemon juice, and then it's going to be 15 ml or 1/2 ounce of Rye Whiskey. For this I'm using Sazerac straight Rye Whiskey. I think it has a really nice flavour. It does have all those classic kind of herbal, almost botanical notes you'd expect in a rye, and it does deliver a nice bit of profile to the cocktail. So it's 15 ml or 1/2 ounce of Rye Whiskey. And that's it. We're just going to pop our top on our shaker tin and shake it down for about 20 seconds to get it nice and cold. Okay, that is nicely chilled now. So we're going to pop the top off our cocktail shaker, and we're going to get ready to strain it out. We're going to be straining it up into a nice chilled coupe glass. So we're going to get our strainer and we're going to pop it on top and just pour it away nice and quick. Oh wow, look at that. Look at the color on that cocktail. And then for a garnish, it is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It's just the zest of a lemon expressed over the top of the cocktail, just so you get a nice bit of extra lemony notes up top. And that right there is a Trinidad Sour. Now real quick, if you're new here, I put out whiskey cocktails every Friday and whiskey reviews every Wednesday, so if you want to see more like that, make sure you scroll down, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. Cheers. Oh, that's interesting. So this is my first time ever trying this cocktail. It's very interesting. I'm gonna leave my whole response to this cocktail. It's fun. It's definitely like tart and dry because the Angostura does have all those sharp, bittery notes, but it's much more juicy than I was actually expecting it to be. Like the Orgeat, I think, does tame the Angostura a bit because it's got this almondy note. It's quite rich, but those bitters are. This is a drink with big bitters energy. It is very different than any other cocktail I think I've ever had before, because it's dry without being like Campari or like an aperitif, you know, it's very dry. It's juicy without being overly juicy. Like the Rye Whiskey, it's basically hidden. It's almost as if it's acting as a bitters in a normal cocktail, and you get this little bit of oakiness, a little bit of spiciness, but really it's all about the bitters. I mean, don't forget, Angostura Bitters does come in at, I think it's 44.7% alcohol, so it is quite a strong, punchy kind of alcohol to be using in a cocktail, and it does carry a lot of flavor. I don't think I'd be making a lot of these, especially since it does use 1.5 ounces, 45 ml of Angostura Bitters, but it's very nice. I mean, it's better than I thought it would be. It's a bit of fun. I could definitely see showing this to somebody else as like a fun little drink, as something kind of to challenge someone's expectations, because I think that's what this drink really does do. It challenges your expectations, because Angostura Bitters are, like I said, they're your salt, they're your pepper, they're your kind of extra ingredient to add on after your main ingredients. But this does shake it up by making the Angostura the main event of the cocktail. So on the one hand, it's very interesting that, you know, it's a nice drink. It actually makes a balanced drink with Angostura, but also it challenges you to try and invent new cocktails in ways you might not originally thought about. So I'm going to keep on enjoying this. I'm going to think of other ways I might challenge myself to make new cocktails, and I will see you next time. Sláinte.